What's up, guys? I want to thank you for joining me for yet again another weekly video. Today we're going to be linking controlling behavior in relationships to insecurity. We're going to go over signs of controlling behavior, some that are obvious, some red flags that are not so obvious, and how it links to your partner potentially being insecure. Listen, I get it, guys. You're in a relationship. You love this person. But when we love someone, our blinders tend to be on, especially for you empathetic people out there. So what we're going to do is open your eyes a bit today, go over those signs, and see if you've dealt with anything similar. For those of you, if it's your first time, I welcome you. For those of you, if you're back, as always, welcome back. My name is Joe. I'm an entrepreneur, investor, business, life, and relationship coach. Before we dive in, guys, I've been getting a lot of questions about stress management. I want to give you a useful resource. Those of us that have been through a lot of stress, trauma, and are high-functioning people and have a lot of things on our plate also deal with a lot of stress day to day. Thing is, if you've been through a lot of trauma, your body has a fight or flight response. When this happens and you feel that surge of stress come about, which you know what I'm talking about, your body produces cortisol. Cortisol is the hormone that protects your body from these stresses. However, it's got a lot of downside in terms of the effects on your body. Cortisol has a lot of negative effects. It causes less sleep, it causes more stress, it causes weight gain, it causes you to eat more, feel more depressed, weight gain in the face, your neck, and overall bloatedness of the body. So to give you an all-natural supplement that you can take, two supplements that you can take that are going to reduce your overall stress, magnesium complex. I take about 300 to 500 milligrams per day. Ashwagandha, same thing. I take about 1,500 milligrams per day. The two ones that I use, you can get right on Amazon. Links are in the description. They're life-changing. You're going to notice that maybe your circumstances don't change, but once you start taking these supplements, you're just going to feel cooler about things. They're not going to affect you as much. Your head's not going to feel like a shaken up soda can when they happen. You're going to be cool, calm, collected, and you're just going to feel calmer. You're then going to notice the physical aspects. You'll sleep better. You'll notice your face and neck are going to have less bloating. You're going to enjoy yourself more. It's also clinically been proven to show some weight loss, especially in the belly. So if you guys haven't tried it, I would just give it a shot. If you don't like it, maybe it's not for everybody, but it was completely life-changing to me. Further ado, guys, let's jump into it. Now, I'm going to be giving you some real-life examples today, but a lot of you ask me how come I've never really shared my story in specific. Two reasons. One, I don't believe that you should really be calling anybody out. I don't think two wrongs make a right. And number two, if I were to share that story, certain people that I would be discussing never miss an episode. But if I were really to call anybody out by a specific instance or even by name, I'd be sure to get a lawsuit before I even posted the video. So hopefully you understand. Segment 1 is control and manipulation. This is pretty big in a lot of relationships, even though we don't pay attention to it. Dictating who you can talk to and spend time with. This is a big one. When you start in a relationship, you'll notice sometimes that people start to guide you in the wrong direction. Tell you that you could talk to certain people, who's good for you and who's bad for you. Now, there's boundaries in relationships, guys. I get it. If some of you are in a serious relationship and you're talking to an ex, probably not the best thing for your relationship. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about good friends, even family. You're going to notice a lot of times this significant other that's trying to control you will subtly start to convince you that certain people that were once close to you are no longer good for you. Why? I don't know. But it seems very insecure. Most of the time it's rooted to that person feeling like if you continue to talk to these people and they don't isolate you, they're going to lose you. Number 2, monitoring your phone, social media, and your whereabouts. Guys, I never really understood this. There's a certain level of open communication and trust that needs to be in a relationship, in my opinion. If you can't trust your significant other to be on your phone and you need to be over their shoulder every time they're on it, you really need to reconsider your relationship. Controlling people also will not let you have social media, constantly want to know where your whereabouts are, make you share your location. Listen, guys, I'm not going to sit here and say there's a right or wrong way to go about a relationship, but in my opinion, relationships are built on trust. And if you're that insecure to where you need to control who the person's talking to, what they're doing on social media, and where they are, you got to really self-reflect and do some self-work. That's extremely insecure. If you guys can't come amongst yourself to the same agreement as to what you want in a relationship, you really got to reconsider if the relationship is worth it altogether. Ultimately, though, we're starting to see a pattern here. If I tell you who to talk to, where to go, who to hang out with, what social media to have and not have, and control your whereabouts at all times, you'll never leave me. That's insecure. You should give someone the freedom to do what they want to do. And if they decide to screw it up, so what? They're doing you a favor. If someone doesn't value you for what you bring to the table and who you are, it's not worth your time anyway. Give someone enough rope, they're going to end up hanging themselves. That's on them, not you. You control your circumstances. You can't control someone else's circumstances, and you shouldn't want to. You should want someone to love you because they want to love you, not because they're forcing you to love them. Big one I see, guys, is guilt and manipulation, threatening to leave or harm themselves if you don't comply for what they want to do, or using guilt to manipulate you into doing things. There's no reason why anyone should be forcing somebody to do what they want if they don't genuinely want to. And you, in a relationship, should be able to actively communicate to the person, these are my boundaries, this is what I really want. We don't need to agree, but I would appreciate if you respected my boundaries. Next one is extreme jealousy and possessiveness. I've dealt with situations where people weren't even allowed to be on their phone when they were with their significant other, but it makes you question why. Is the anxiety really that high? And I'm not talking about you guys dating and you talking to ex-boyfriends or people that are looking to get with you and stuff like that. I agree that's inappropriate. I'm talking about you speaking to friends, family, and people that have been in your life forever. And now all of a sudden, if you're even on your phone when you're with this person, it causes an argument. That's a huge red flag. And it says a lot about the person that's trying to control you. They're immensely insecure, and they've got to do something about that to themselves. So, I mean, if you think about it, if you're that insecure to where you can't even let the person you're with be on their phone at all when you're around them, instead of worrying so much about what they're doing, maybe you need to take some time to self-reflect and work on yourself and build yourself up to where you feel worthy enough to be in a relationship. You can't love someone unless you love yourself first. As we dive deeper into control and we start getting people telling you who you could talk to, if you could be on your phone and where to go, it brings it into isolation. This is when someone starts discouraging you or even forbidding you from seeing friends and family. This is a huge red flag. I could say it's one thing if you have people in your life that just don't treat you well and the other person expresses that. I'm talking about your best friends, your ride or dies, and your family that have kind of been in your life forever. And all of a sudden they start coercing you to not see them and to not be with them and giving them reasons. And most of all, starting arguments over it. Why are you starting arguments over changing someone who was a certain way when you met them? You know what you signed up for. Changing someone's not going to do anything for you. Controlling someone and telling them who they should see is a huge red flag. This also goes into making you feel guilty for spending time with other people for no reason. Making you feel guilty for spending time with your best friends and family. Making you feel guilty for having balance in your life if it doesn't include them at all times. And moving the relationship too fast just so you cut off external influences who are there for you and can tell you that you're in a toxic situation. Many times, insecure people will cut you off from the closest people around you that are going to call them out on their red flags and say, hey, you're in a bad situation. I love you. You do what you want, but that relationship's no good for you. Those are the first people they're going to look to cut you off because they don't want to be exposed. Next one is verbal and emotional abuse, guys. I understand arguments happen. We're not all going to have good days. We all say things we don't mean when we're angry, and we're always going to get angry. Angry is a normal way of feeling sometimes, but it's important that we talk about what happened, apologize, take accountability for it, figure out how we're going to go about it next time, and move on so it doesn't turn toxic. Where it becomes a problem if you're receiving constant criticism, belittling, and humiliation to make you feel bad about yourself. What this does is, over time, it chips away at your self-esteem. And it makes you feel like you're not good enough for anybody else. That's how you get trapped in a toxic relationship. If you don't feel you're good enough, you'll never leave the person. And subconsciously, that's their whole goal. But I hate to tell you, deep down, these people are deeply insecure. If they chip away at your self-esteem and you're a once social person and you had a lot of confidence and now you've kind of lost yourself, that's because that's the only way they can get control over you. But it has nothing to do with you. That's their insecurity. That shouldn't be your problem. This folds into examples of gaslighting as well. I don't know if you've ever been in a circumstance where you tried to have a constructive conversation with someone and you just felt like you were speaking in circles. This is because you may see something or hear something that someone has said, and when you bring it up to the person and try to communicate it with them, they tell you it never happened and you're crazy for thinking it, and you're formulating this stuff in your head and it never really happened and you're crazy. Listen, stay true to yourself. You know what you heard, you know what you saw. Them blaming you for their mistakes and their bad behavior is not your responsibility. Next one is financial control. And this is a huge red flag, and I see a lot of this in narcissism. When someone starts trying to convince you to stop working or forbidding you from working or making financial decisions just so they could pay for everything and control all the money, this is so you don't leave. If you stop working, you'll have no financial independence. If you have no financial independence, you can't go anywhere, because if you can't afford to live on your own, you can't afford to live without me. Huge red flag. Anybody that's in a relationship with you, if you're passionate about having a career, they should support that, because they want to see the best for you. You should have your own means. You should have the freedom to walk away from a relationship if you're not happy. That means having the financial means to leave if you're not happy. You should be able to come and go on your free will based on how they treat you, not forcing you to stay because you can't physically afford to leave or you can't physically leave in general. Isolating you. That's insecurity. They don't feel like you'll stay with them unless they put you in a position where you can't leave, because if you are able to leave, they don't feel like they're good enough to make you stay just on your own. Final one, guys, and this is a huge one that I think flies under the radar: when they have a lack of respect for your boundaries. Now, this is where it gets confusing, because a lot of my clients ask me the same question. How do I know if I'm being unreasonable or if I'm just setting a boundary? Here's the thing, guys. You're entitled to have feelings. You're entitled to feel a certain way about something. Whether someone agrees with it or not, you're still entitled to that. If you're uncomfortable with something and you tell someone, I'm not telling you what to do, I'm just not agreeing to do it because I feel uncomfortable, they should respect that. Now, whether you guys need to talk that through and figure it out is completely on you guys. But in no way should someone tell you that you're wrong for feeling a certain way and you should do it anyway because they think that's what's best for your relationship. Two people need to agree on something for it to be a decision. It shouldn't just be one-sided. So someone making you feel guilty for setting healthy boundaries to maintain your own health and well-being is a huge red flag. Don't apologize for sticking up for the way you feel. You're entitled to the way you feel. And don't let someone tell you that the way you feel is wrong. These are your feelings. This is your life. And unfortunately, if they leave you and you're out on your own, no one's coming to save you. So you need to take care of yourself first and foremost. Don't let someone tell you how you should feel and how you should live your life. That's your decision. By no means should someone be telling you you should be feeling a certain way. That's controlling, it's manipulative, and it's solely out of insecurity. Back to the same pattern we're seeing through all these things. These people, deep down, do not feel like they're good enough for you. If they felt like they were good enough for you, they let you love them on your terms. There's nothing better than love when both people do it out of their own free will. You can't force someone to love you. At the end of the day, these people that show these controlling traits don't love themselves. And in a foundation of a relationship, you can't love somebody else and you can't have them supplement love, because that's what someone else's love is. It's supplemental to your love. If you don't love yourself, you can't have someone else love you. You need to love yourself first. So people that are controlling and insecure need to work on themselves, maybe seek help, work on their routines, work on their self-love, work on their self-improvement until they're in a good space to where they can actually have a healthy and functioning relationship. Just like in most of my videos, guys, community is an important thing. Share your story. Share some of the things that you've gone through. Feel free to ask me a question down there. I'd love to answer. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. I love the open communication that we have within the comment section on these videos. You guys are great. It makes you not feel so alone sometimes. You're not the only person going through it. I've gone through it multiple times, but trust me, it does get better. Appreciate you guys for joining me for yet again another video. If you haven't already, check the links down below for the magnesium complex and the ashwagandha supplements. Life-changing for stressful situations. As always, I appreciate you guys for joining me for yet again another video. See you on the next one.